What is up, everyone, and welcome to Not Another CFB Pod. We are already on week 8 this season. It is crazy, Squilly. I can't believe we've gone this far. I don't know about you, man. I had a great time last week. I think my picks were around even, maybe just a little bit better. I got kind of screwed on a couple plays. I vented on those on Twitter a little bit, but kind of wanted to hear about what your weekend was like at the University of Georgia.
I mean, dude, it was one word: spiritual. It was insane. 100,000 plus people in the stadium, a top 10 team. This Kentucky team is good. They're good.
Yeah, they are.
And what I noticed from, going with a lot of Georgia fans, a lot of Dog fans, these people are hurt. This team has hurt them very, very deeply. Like I was just like chatting with them, and I was like, "Yeah, this team's great." They're like, "Don't say that. Don't say that they're great. Don't say that." I'm like, wait, what do you mean? Like they're talent-wise, they're a great team. This group is. I love this Georgia team. I think they're phenomenal. I think they're rounding into form, but their fans are scared to death right now.
It's that Georgia fan thing, like when everything looks like it's going great, all of a sudden it's going to blow up on them. We obviously remember, Tom Brady beating the Falcons in the Super Bowl after being down 28-3. I mean, all those things come back to them. I'm sure they had Bama beat there for a little bit in the national championship a couple years ago. So I kind of get where they're coming from.
Hey, dirty water, PG, you're on the bandwagon. We're fighting for the Sox. The Sox need to get back. They need to get back at it. No one needs to be playing at a 4 o'clock first pitch. No one wants that on the East Coast. But we're good. Sox and 7. That's it.
I love it, man. I love it. Yeah, and you're right. I did jump on that bandwagon, so I'm all over it. Ready for the next one. I guess I can kick us off, man, if we're ready to go. My first play. You know how I like to do that first play Friday night thing this week? Jumped all over this over. This is Washington at Arizona. On Friday night, it's a 9:30 kick Central, late night Pac-12 game. Here's the thing. The total's only 45.5 points. Arizona's an awful football team. We know that. They haven't won a game yet this year. Washington's a very disappointing team, but the last 3 totals, the last 3 times these teams matched up, 71, 78, 63. So all we got to do is hit 46. We hit this over. I don't have a whole lot to add. Like I said, these teams aren't great. There's nothing really exciting about them, but it's that weird Pac-12 element late at night. This is at Arizona. They're going to try to put on a show in front of their fans. They haven't done it all year. Friday night, you would think the campus is going to be hopping. The kids are going to be in the stadium. So give me this over, 45.5.
Yeah, I mean, if the history reads like that, and 45.5 is minuscule.
Yep.
And it sounds exactly like what happened last week, where I made. By the way, thank you for that under.
Yeah.
I tailed the hell out of that under on Tennessee Ole Miss.
Yeah, easy.
This reads exactly like it, just the opposite. You gotta go over on this one. I love it. I may exactly just jump right on it and tail right there. I think it makes so much sense.
Let's go.
I'm going to jump right back on my bandwagon, as I've been doing all year. Bama first half minus 14.
Yep.
Alabama last week, they had 96% of public bets on them for that first half play. 96% for minus 13.5. I have a great friend of mine. He loves to take the sharps. He loves to follow the sharps and, do the analytics, all that stuff. I'm like, dude, listen. Bama will roll, and they rolled. And I don't see any way that it doesn't happen again. Again, there's got to be, Saban's got his one hiccup. That's the one hiccup in. He drank the Coke a little bit too fast, just did a little burp, and now they're back on track. I think Bama minus 14 first half. Free money once again. I love Bama here in this spot, and I love them in this first half spot through the rest of the season, and I'll continue to take them.
Yeah, playing back at home, Tennessee is an improved team for sure. I talked to one of my Tennessee fan friends and asked him what the health was of their quarterback. If you remember the last game, their quarterback came out at the very end, and he's like, well, they say he's doing pretty good. So, like, with his status even a little bit in the air against this Bama defense, I mean, minus 14 is nothing. like you said, the first half for Bama this year has just been killer. I keep forgetting to look up the stat of what their score difference is in the first half, but we'll get it maybe next week because it's been killer. And I may have to tell you on that too, man. Bama first half's just kind of too easy almost. For my next play, I'm going out to West Texas. We are going with the Texas Tech Red Raiders hosting the Kansas State Wildcats. We're going under 61. Primarily.
Really?
Yeah, primarily you would think like, oh man, Texas Tech puts up points and their defense gives up a bunch of points and blah, blah, blah. And, that's not a terrible analysis. The problem with this game is they're calling for 16-mile-an-hour winds there in West Texas, and this is an early game. It's going to be very breezy. Skylar Thompson is playing for Kansas State. He's just not looking the same as far as his mobility, and that gives me, hope that we'll see a few more punts. Maybe they just get it to the 50 and punt a bunch of times, and it's a punt fest. But 61 feels fairly safe. The last 3 in this series, 52, 57, 27. So we just need to stay under the 61. We got a very windy conditions on Saturday morning. I like it. Give me this under 61.
I don't know, PG. I think that's a scary number to play with. I mean, listen, I trust you. Your totals have been on the money all season. That has actually been, your over-unders have been so legit. I wish we could track that back. We should actually.
I've got it all in my notes, so I could go back and look.
Yeah, no, I mean, but that 61 is a terrifying number for a West Texas game. But, I mean, on that, I gotta respect it. I gotta appreciate it, and I think you're gonna ride on that. And to that point, I'm gonna jump on another under right here, in the same vein as your last week, that Tennessee Ole Miss game.
Mm-hmm.
82.5 was that number.
Yep.
This is LSU Ole Miss. LSU at Ole Miss, under 76. 76 again is a huge number. And both teams need to cover it. There's no way, even with Arch Manning showing up, even with Manning in the end zones, there's no way that Ole Miss puts enough points on the board to cover 76 on their own. Absolutely not. And this LSU team is a disaster. I don't know if you read the Ed Orgeron article in The Athletic. Mm-hmm. Holy crap. Mm-hmm. Talk about a fall from grace. But, 2019, phenomenal team. Respect Ed O. But at this point in time, 76 points. Mississippi State wants to, not Mississippi State. Ole Miss wants to dominate this LSU team. I see this under 76 hitting very significantly. I don't see LSU putting up more than 28 points.
I love that play. It actually brings me into one of my plays, Squilly, which is Ole Miss -9. And it's for a lot of the reasons you say. I think if they're going to hit this over, that LSU is going to have to score a bunch of points. And I think their, rally around Ed O game was the last game when they found a way to upset Florida. That was a crazy upset for them. But they used all their emotion there. I think they're going to come into Oxford flat. Matt Corral, I talked to one of my Ole Miss buddies. He's going to be good to go. I like them there. And one thing that people don't realize about Ole Miss is they actually run the ball almost as well as they throw it. When you think about Ole Miss, everyone thinks, like air raid, we're just chunking it around. But they run the ball really well. And that's a weakness of this LSU defense that they're going to exploit. They know they can push these guys around, control the clock, control the ball. I think it goes under. But I've got my -9 play as well. May have to tell you on that under just so we can be in solidarity here.
This LSU team, that article painted a very detailed picture of what this team looks like right now, and it does not look good.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially in the leadership aspect.
Yep.
I don't see this team bouncing back this year. Not at all. So, for me, I'm going to jump on one of our, another group of the Sooners.
Yeah, there we go.
Oklahoma versus Kansas. The team total for Oklahoma is 52.5. I think the over-under is 64?
It's
64?
In the 60s, yeah.
Yeah, so, this, to me right now, this Sooners offense is a different beast with Caleb Williams. Mm-hmm. There is no shot that Kansas can defend it for 4 quarters. And first off, 52.5 points for a team total is a significant number. Absolutely. I completely understand that. But again, this is Kansas. And at the same time, all you need to do is break 2. And I think that this is sort of the game right now, especially, the Texas game was huge for Caleb Williams sort of finding his feet, finding his footing behind the offensive line, actually winning the game, and winning it in a clutch spot. But this is the game where Caleb Williams says, hey, I've arrived. Yep. Spencer Rattler is transferring this offseason. He is not going to the NFL draft. This is a great game for Caleb Williams to say, and for Oklahoma to say, we are college football playoff material. We are either the two seed or the 3 seed. That's it. So I love that 52.5. Kansas is horrific, and they've been horrific for 3.5 years. I just think you have to roll this the entire way. I love Oklahoma here. I love Caleb Williams. I think this team is phenomenal and has found their footing as we move into the last 6 weeks of the season.
Yep. I think this is a great spot, Squilly, right in front of the bye for OU as well. Caleb Williams, like you said, has transformed this team. They had players such as Jaden Hazelwood, and he said, I don't mind if I have to block every game. I just want to win. And you have guys like that coming out and saying stuff like that. That's after Caleb Williams. That's the Caleb Williams effect. I actually have a play on this game as well. I like OU first half. Minus 24. Really? We kind of did a role reversal here. Normally I'm the team total guy, and you're the first half guy. But here I'm taking OU minus 24 in the first half. We're going to have the starters in the game. The defense has something to prove as well. Many people said in the postgame and during this week, media, that the defensive players and the defensive coaches are still pissed off. They won that TCU game, they covered, but they gave up too many yards, they feel like. They gave up too many points, they feel like. And TCU's got a good offense, so it's going to happen. I think they dial in this first half. When the starters are in there, they're going to pound Kansas. 24 is a solid football number. 3 touchdowns and a field goal. It shouldn't be a problem. So give me that. But just full disclosure, Squilly, I'm taking the team total. I'm taking first quarter, first half, full game, taking it all. OU all the way. This is a really good spot for them, I believe, to just crush these Jayhawks. And like you said, the Jayhawks are just so bad. So
Boomer Sooner, man. I absolutely love this team. Let me just first say, I have so many futures on the Oklahoma Sooners this year. I'm riding with you to the end of the line. I promise you that. But, so to my next pick, I know the Boston College Eagles had a rough weekend last weekend. They had a bad time at their first night game at home, everyone there, and the NC State Wolfpack kicked their dicks in. Mm-hmm. They absolutely blitzed that team. I don't think the Louisville Cardinals have any shot against this team in BC. BC is literally +6 against Louisville. And this Louisville team has not been able to play a single snap of defense all year long. Jeff Hafley, and we've seen it the entire year. We know our cheapies. We know everyone loves this guy, Jeff Hafley. He gets this team going, and I think they are in a great spot here. BC +6 against Louisville. I think Louisville is in deep trouble playing this BC team who's trying to fight now. BC's fighting to that Wake Forest game. They want to be competitive when Thanksgiving rolls around with that Wake Forest team. So I absolutely think +6 points here. Fantastic spot. You can play the money line if you want. It's a little sketchy after last weekend, but the 6 points is too much for the Boston College Football Eagles. I love Hafley and the boys here. I think this is a great spot and a great play.
You're right. This is a much different approach than what they saw with NC State. NC State's a bunch of veteran players. They're very physical. They're a really good defensive team. Louisville's not any of those things. They don't play defense that way. I don't think they can move the ball like NC State can with all those veteran players. So, yeah, BC Eagles, we love our Eagles. I'm going into one that I'm so excited about, Squilly. Last season, I tailed this team on the overs all the time. This is a big over, but it's one I think is going to hit. Kent State at Ohio, over 66.5. Kent State is just an over machine. They weren't to start the year, but now that MAC play has started, they've really started to ramp up their offense, and their defense has gotten even worse. These are their last two totals. These are their last two totals, and this is in regulation. Okay, 95 and 86. Those are both MAC games.
What?
Yeah, they lost to Western Michigan 64-31, and they beat Buffalo 48-38. And we know Buffalo's no speed demon on offense, and neither is Ohio. Ooh. But I truly believe that they're going to hit enough explosive plays on this horrible Kent State defense. And Kent State just plays with so much pace on offense. I don't know if you've ever watched their games. They get the snap, and they throw the ball, and they go, and they go, and they go. It's a true It's like every play is a 2-minute drill, with the clock running. So we love the pace. We love how many opportunities we're going to have for explosive plays. Kent State been really good with the pass, and Ohio's been really bad against the pass, so that lines up really well as well. So give me this over 66.5, Maction.
Wait, 66.5? I only heard you say the line right there. That is so low.
Not anything too crazy. Yeah, 66.5.
Nothing too crazy. Yeah, we're not blazing the trails here like a 78 or anything like that. So that is a certain tail from me because I love your total. Your year on totals in terms of the actual over-unders have been exceptional. I don't think I should not tell you at any point.
Let's go.
My last one is Oklahoma State at Iowa State. Oklahoma State +7 and the money line.
Yeah.
There is no reason at all that Oklahoma State should be a touchdown and an extra point underdog to this Iowa State team. Mm-hmm. To me, it's as simple as that. It makes absolutely no sense because this Oklahoma State team is legit. They are going to be the problem that Oklahoma runs into late in the year, likely under the lights, in the dark, in a blackout, in Stillwater. I mean, it's +215 for the monoline and +7. And to me right there, I mean, obviously that could be a square and you get burned on a square. But to me, this makes, I've watched enough college football to know.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense for Oklahoma State to be a full touchdown and extra point underdog to an Iowa State team that is pretty much at this point in time fighting for their life, fighting for their season. They're worse than Baylor. And Baylor had nothing going at the beginning of the season. It is a shocking development here that this is going to be a +7 line. And I think due to the fact that it is the +7 line, you have to take the money line.
When I was talking to Oklahoma State fans about this game, they told me I didn't expect this to be a 7-point line. And the way I would have made it, the way I expected it to be was about a 3-point. Just because it's at Iowa State. And things like that, but Iowa State just hasn't been the team we expected them to be this year. I think Oklahoma State's getting a little disrespected because people think their offense isn't good enough, but slowly but surely they're starting to figure it out a little bit, and their defense is more than good enough to keep them in this game against an offense from Iowa State that hasn't been that exciting yet this year. So yeah, man, Oklahoma State +7. I'm for sure gonna look at that, at least maybe for some parlays or something like that.
And I think that OSU game is going to be electric, and I think ISU has no business being a 7-point favorite to this team. No shot.
I agree, man. And actually, funny story, I should be at Bedlam this year. I've got a friend of mine who is an Oklahoma State guy, and he hooks me up with tickets usually for Bedlam. So if I'm there, I will let everyone on the timeline know. That's obviously several weeks away at this point, but that's going to be a blast. Which I guess brings me to my last pick, which is another Pac-12 After Dark game. This is Utah at Oregon State. I like Utah -3. I was shocked that this was only a -3 line. Oregon State, I like them, but they had a disappointing game last week. They lost to Washington State. And then if you look at what Utah did last week, they're now starting Cam Rising. They beat Arizona State by 14 after trailing for a majority of that game. I think that they are going to ride that momentum. I'm not an Oregon State hater. I think they're actually better than people give them credit for. But I also think Utah's very, very well coached. They got Cam Rising at quarterback, who he's not going to blow you away with anything, but you can tell he just kind of has that moxie, that quarterback that you're kind of looking for in college football. He's got the long flowing hair, and there's just something about it. He's a baller. And so Utah -3, Pac-12 after dark. It's not super late, I guess. It's only a 6:30 Central game, so that's like whatever that is, 5:30 Mountain Time or whatever. But
I don't mean to interrupt, but apparently there are no after dark games because
we have Hawaii. Well, the way it's listed in ESPN, it says 10:59 p.m. So I don't know on Saturday night, but that's the only. You're right. 6:30 is the latest games we have at Central. But yeah, I like Utah here -3. I think they've got a great shot of winning by more than a touchdown. I think here, riding a lot of momentum off that Arizona State win. So give me Utah.
I love it. I mean, I think we're both in the understanding that this week is sort of an interlude week, where you kind of see it. You're like, all right, what teams don't have buys? What teams are coming back up? What teams can sort of show? And these are the weeks where the big teams, the big ranked teams, go down. Because they are not anticipating it. And I'm super interested to see what happens in the Big Ten, of course, because next week is going to be absolutely insane. But to me, this week is actually far more intriguing. I mean, neither of us touched the Ohio State-Indiana game, but I think that game could be quite, they could put some pressure on.
That's me too, man. Every week there's just some games you just do not expect, and this could be one of those weeks. Like you said, all the big matchups seems like they're coming up next week, and usually the week before that's just the overlook week, and somebody's going to get caught. Who's it going to be?
This has been, to me, of the college football playoff era, this has been the best year.
Yeah, I think with that distinction, the college football era kind of college football, I think you're right. I don't remember a time when it was so up in the air. We're just waiting for these college football playoff rankings to come out. But meanwhile, all these AP teams are just dropping like crazy. Lots of crazy upsets. We don't have any ranked matchups this week, but next week we're gonna have a whole bunch. So just get ready for it, folks. And these are the weeks that usually something crazy happens. So keep your eye on your ESPN app or your Action app or wherever you are keeping an eye on games. I guess with that said, Squilly, I guess I'll just wrap it up. Week 8, where we ran right through it. It's crazy that we're this far along, but it's been a blast, man.
I mean, it's been phenomenal. It's just we've found ourselves a rhythm. The problem is we're just burning through everything. We're having such a good time. Every single week is going way too fast. We got to stop. Yeah. We got to slow it down at some point. We got to have a big upset here and there, but we've already had too many. So it's been phenomenal, man. Yeah,
so keep your eyes on the timeline. We're going to be having some fun on Saturday, no doubt. Let us know if you're tailing. Let us know if you're fading. It's always fun, man. I guess that wraps up week 8 of Not Another CFB Pod. Remember that we are on YouTube. We are on Spotify. We are on Apple Podcasts. So whichever your platform of choice is, hit us up there. You won't regret it, I'm pretty sure. And other than that, peace out, guys.
Week 8, baby. Let's go.